So you think you have what it takes to become SWAT? Let's find out. Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you are having a fantastic week so far. I get questions every day from people asking me, how do I become a SWAT officer? And honestly, the biggest question that you have to ask yourself is if it's really something you want to do. SWAT is not just about kicking open doors. There's so much more to it than that. Now, some departments call it SWAT, other departments call it like TRT, which is like a tactical response team. Depending on where you live, every department usually has a different name or variation of SWAT. SWAT stands for Special Weapons and Tactics, and that's kind of the umbrella general term for it. So what exactly are the requirements for SWAT? The answer to that really depends on the department, but I will tell you guys about my journey and how I got onto the SWAT team. So when I originally joined my last department, I never had any plans on being on the SWAT team. That wasn't my goal in becoming a police officer. My original goal was just to become a uniformed patrol officer and ride my zone. But as I progressed in my career, I wanted more of a challenge. But I also wanted changes. I get very bored very quickly. So after 2 years, I joined the traffic division. And around that same time, I applied to be on the SWAT team. Now, most departments require 2 years before you're allowed to do anything specialized outside of patrol, whether it be traffic, detectives, SWAT, anything like that. But then again, it just depends. There are some departments that are very small and you can probably get on the SWAT team in the first few months you're there. And honestly, I don't remember if there was an interview for SWAT. I don't think there was. But I do remember when they called me and told me to come to tryouts. That's when shit got real. So our tryouts were actually at the police shooting range that we have here. I get there and they basically have you dress as a team member. They make you wear an extremely heavy vest with the ceramic plates, the shoulder guards, everything. Keep in mind, now you've got like 40 or 50 pounds of extra gear on you. Then they make you wear a helmet and then they tell you how many bullets they want you to load up in your magazine. So after this is all done and you are set up, they then bring you to, and this is not the same everywhere, every place has different types of tryouts, but just for this department, they bring you up to the 3-yard line at the range. And they basically explain that they want you to face away from your target, which is like toward the parking lot. And then when the buzzer goes, you have 2 minutes to complete this course. So it first consisted of being at the 3-yard line. The buzzer goes off, you turn 180 degrees, you fire 3 shots center mass, you reholster, and then you sprint the entire length of that range. Well, as soon as you get to the end, there's an awning at the top, and both sides of the awning have stairs. So the first thing you have to do is get past somebody with a huge like blue punching bag or kick bag, whatever. He's pushing you. Again, you've got all this gear on, you just sprinted. You have to get around this guy to be able to go up this flight of stairs. You have to jump over a wall, run across the top of this awning, jump another wall, run down the stairs on the other side, and then there's another guy at the bottom of those stairs with one of those punching bags. Once you finally get past the second dude, you are exhausted by this time, but you're not done yet. You then have to run back to the range and you have to low crawl for a very long distance. I don't remember exactly how long it was, but by the end of it, you will be very tired. So after you get up from this, you're basically low crawling to a battering ram. Well, once you reach the battering ram, you can stand up, you pick it up, and then you have to hit this orange barricade and knock it over to kind of simulate you hitting a door. Once you have knocked over the barricade, you then run to a shoot house that we had out there. It's no longer there anymore, but we used to have a shoot house. You go in, you pull out your weapon, and you fire at each of the rooms that they have there. And it's kind of like a window, and they've got like the target behind the window. You had to hit each one of them accurately. And then once you were done, you holstered your weapon and you raised your hand. Only when you raised your hand did it stop. And you had 2 minutes to do this. 2 minutes sounds like a lot of time, but remember, you are wearing very heavy gear. You're burning time running. You're burning time trying to get past these guys with bags that are not letting you go up the stairs or down the stairs. Plus having to jump these walls and the low crawl. Trust me, you will be pressed for time. So that was basically the tryout portion of that. So once you were done with tryouts, assuming that you passed, for us, that was kind of the beginning of your introduction into the SWAT team. So we had training every other week, sometimes every week, and it was just hours and hours and hours of tactical training. So basically, we used a lot of simunitions. We did a lot of simunition training, which is perfect. That, to me, that is the absolute best training you can do. Closest thing to using actual live ammo. Of course, you can't do that. Sometimes they would actually bring in federal instructors, they would bring in military personnel, and they would teach us kind of what they know. And I loved it. I absolutely loved being on the SWAT team. I was on the SWAT team for 4.5 years. A lot of what we did was tactical training. You did some PT. I think what I enjoyed most about the SWAT team was not even necessarily kicking open doors. It was really the camaraderie. The guys on the SWAT team are closer than probably anybody else in the department. Even, you know, you're going to be very close with people on your patrol shift, but nobody really gets along like people on the SWAT team. There's just something about it. It's like a whole nother level of like kind of that brotherhood, I guess. Every time we got done training, we would go out to eat together. Of course, we would get weird looks when we're like all these SWAT dudes just sitting down in a restaurant. But we enjoyed it. We had fun. We had a lot of fun together. So unless you're in a huge, you know, urban environment like New York City or LA, most of your time on the SWAT team, honestly, 95% of your time is just going to be training. You probably aren't even going to be serving that many search warrants. They don't usually call the SWAT team out unless it's like absolutely necessary. And it might be different in other areas, but see, like our drug squad, they tend to serve their own search warrants. So we didn't get called out a lot for like drug search warrants. We got called out when there was imminent danger that was going to be present. So really on your training days, we would all show up at the range, or we would show up at this shoot house, as we called it. It was actually the fire department's like 5-story building that they used for their training, but we would use that building for our tactical training. So day to day, like with the training, you get there, you know, everybody pulls up, everybody's kind of sitting around chatting, and then you start the training. A lot of times the commander will show up, and that's when it's time to go. And part of the reason why I left the SWAT team was new management, if you will. We had the original SWAT team commander actually became the chief of the department. Wonderful person. He left, other people came in and kind of took over, and training changed very much. It was less about tactics and more just PT. And that's fine. You need PT, you need to be healthy, you need to be... That's the biggest thing about SWAT you guys have to remember. If you are looking to get into this, you have to be mentally and physically strong. It's not just how much you can lift, but you got to be sharp here too. So like I said, after doing it for 4.5 years, I'm not going to sit here and try to say that I know everything about tactics. I probably know very little bit about tactics, but just the way the training was starting to go, I was just getting burned out. So that's when I decided I was going to make room for someone else to give it a shot. In conclusion, there's a few things that you guys need to remember if you really want to be on the SWAT team. Number one, again, you have to be mentally and physically in shape. Number two, remember that you are always on call. That can get old after a while too. And last, but I would not say least at all, you have to be a team player. SWAT is not one of those places where you can be the hero. If you're going to get somebody hurt with that mentality. So if you're serious about doing this, you have to be a team player. You have to give up your own ego sometimes in this position. You have to trust who you work with. And yeah, that's it, guys. That is how to become a SWAT team member. Get your years in, apply for it, try out, get it. The only thing stopping you is you. I'm actually going to show you guys right here on the screen. This is a picture of me when I was still on the SWAT team and K9 at the time. We were actually getting ready to load up and go serve a search warrant, but I figured I would show you guys a younger version of me pre-tattoos. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm going to start trying to crank out some more videos and doing more live streams, so look forward to that. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you guys very, very soon.